Preview. I'm ready to go live. Ready to go live. Is it live? It says I'm live. Is it true? Is it true? It says I'm live. Okay. We're going to act like I'm live. All right, folks. Today we are talking about the ToneX One, specifically in the application of bass. Have a bass. So I am so stoked about this pedal for a lot of reasons, but the applications of this thing outside just the most obvious, which is like, oh, use it as a guitar amp. That's great. But there's so much more that you can do with this technology. It's kind of ridiculous what you're getting for the price. So there's a few things I want to cover in this video. I want to talk about specifically the feature set that is useful for bass players specifically. And then I also want to go through a handful of the sounds and do a comparison of my old faithful. This is my trusty handy dandy Sansamp, the programmable 3-channel that I've had. It's one of the oldest pedals I've owned. Trying to think. I've had it for at least 15 years, probably going on 20 years, which is wild. Makes me feel old. Yeah, we won't get too far into that. But I'm excited about this. I see Luke's in the stream. He is putting together a drum kit. That's awesome. Stoked for you putting together a drum kit. That's always a great thing. So yeah, have fun putting together the kit. What kind of kit is it? I'm curious. I'm gonna say it's a Gretsch. If I'm right, that'll be wild. Let me know. Also, a question for all of you. I've been thinking about this. What is the best Boss pedal? Boss has made so many pedals, sold millions of them. What's the best pedal they ever designed? Maybe DM2 analog delay is pretty great. Maybe the DD5. It's pretty great. RV5, RV6, PS2, PS3, maybe just the BD2, good old blues driver. I don't know. Just curious what you all think. What's the best Boss pedal? So that's our stream question of the day. So let me know in the comments, and I will see that shortly. So let me pull up the software real quick, flip over to this view. So now what we're looking at here is the ToneX librarian, which is with the ToneX software. ToneX pedal connects with a USB-C cable to the bottom of it. And then it actually can run as an audio interface. I'm not running it that way because I wanted to have access to the Sansamp. But actually, in hindsight, I could have put the Sansamp before the ToneX, as long as that's the last thing in the chain. All of the audio into it would have then gone into there. So perhaps I'll do that in a future video. But for now, running out of the XLR out of the Sansamp, but ToneX is running into that. So only things on the board: tuner, compressor, which is currently turned off, and then the ToneX and the Sans. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at here. I went ahead and dragged in this Sansamp. It says Drive Max. I'm not totally sure if I feel like that's accurate, but this is a Sansamp capture. Just getting the lingo right, you can do captures of amps and pedals. You can do combinations of amps and pedals. The sky's kind of the limit with what you can capture. Not really any wet effect stuff. It's pretty much just going to be like your tone shapers, right? So this, however, this Sansamp was dialed in when it was captured is what we're going to hear with everything at noon. And then you can tweak from there. You can make it a little less gainy. You can make it a little more dirty, a little bit brighter, whatever the thing is. I feel like this right from the get-go I'll just put everything at noon, just to make sure that we're getting the way it sounds without anything special. So here's my bass. Enough talking. Let's make some noise. Here's my bass. Ooh, DW, nice, with rack mounts. Cool. 5-piece, 4-piece. I need the deets. I need more deets. I need more drum content on this channel. You gotta let me know. DW kit. I love a good DW kit. Honestly, DWs. Gosh, they're so good. It's so much money, but so good. So I was way off with Gretsch. My bad. Okay, so here's my bass without anything. Just run straight in. So nothing too terribly exciting. Here's the physical Sansamp, the actual Sansamp. I'll just do one of my random presets. It's not very dirty, so that might not be a great comparison to this one. We'll see. It's the Sansamp, and here's the ToneX One as a Sansamp. Ooh, 10, 14, 16, rad. That's fun. So is the 14, 16, are those racked? Is that what you're meaning by shell pack and rack mounts? Are those going to be racked as well, or they have floor tom legs on the 14, 16? I'm so distracted by a drum kit. It's okay. I feel like this is a little dirty, so I can quickly change that. So you've got the 4 parameters, 4 knobs up top, bass, middle, treble, and volume, and then you hit this button and see how it's flashing. Here, let me switch over real quick so you get a better view of that. When it's flashing, then these 3 become the lower description of what these knobs do. So it's gate, comp, reverb, which is going to be super useful for bass, and gain. So I'm going to turn the gain knob back a bit, and then to compensate, I'm going to pull the volume a little bit over, about equal-ish. It also felt a little dark, so I'm going to bring the highs almost all the way up. So let's hear what that sounds like now. Yeah, definitely a little more top end from the physical Sansamp. But again, you're still somewhat limited to the capture. So if the capture was a little dark, I can crank the highs all the way up, and that will make a difference, but it might not get it all the way back. So if I want a brighter sounding Sansamp on here, I just need to find a different capture that is a little bit brighter. So I feel like that's pretty darn close. Obviously could be a little brighter, but I also just might be running the Sansamp a little bright. You know, maybe it's unnecessary. Maybe you don't like a bright bass. It's all good. It's all good. Let's try flipping this over. I am really curious to try a few more amps. But before we do that, let's look at, so here in the, back over in the ToneX software, so you've got, this is the librarian. If I switch over, double check. Okay, so I'm on this one. Yeah. So I switched the preset in that, removed the settings that I had done earlier. So we'll do that real quick. Compression, a little room reverb. You got it, Bob. So let's first work on compression, because I feel like that's going to be the thing that most bass players are going to have, like almost always have a use for. So if I'm in the alt mode, which I want you guys to see this, so I'm going to flip back, answer Bob's question real quick. So if I flip all the way, turn that all the way down, then this is with no compression on it. Okay, so coming in real hot. Let's go ahead and turn it just so that we can hear a little bit of the extremes. I can already hear a little bit of the noise floor coming up from it. So that made it real hot on the input. So I'm going to switch over, pull the volume back, get back into this compressor, and maybe over tweak that, get right about. Can you guys hear that compression? I certainly feel it. Hear that sustain? Yeah, that's a compressor working. If I dial that all the way back out. Oh, sorry. In the wrong mode. My bad. Needs to be flashing. On Alt. Dial that all the way out. Yeah. Hear the sustain just drop on that immediately. So definitely benefits from some compression, right? And I of course I've got a standalone compressor here. So if I was swapping this out, I might not use it, but in the event that you're running, with just the ToneX, that's a perfectly serviceable tuner, like, or serviceable compressor. Let's get maybe like an in-between setting that's like maybe less aggressive. Still a little bit squishy. Yeah, it's got some awesome ring to it. Awesome ring. Bass should be dirty. We'll make it dirtier. Crank up the disto on this. The gain. Compress it just a touch. Got that up high. Yeah, that's pretty solid sound. I thought I left a pick around here. Where's my pick? Guess not. Okay, and then Bob also asked about reverb. Let's try it with the reverb. I will have to double check, and I believe I can. Syncing. Okay. See that verb. So verb is on the second one on the alternate page, and then this is it. We'll just go with the extreme and see what that sounds like. So play something pretty. So that'd be if you were like using it as like an effect. Let me use it a little more subtly, see what that sounds like. So here's it all the way off. Bass right in your face. I'll have to double check which type of reverb this is, because there's multiple reverbs that you can dial in on this. We'll get to that in just a sec. Split that difference. There's probably about as subtle as I can get it while it's still on, you know? It's just a really big room sound, so let's try to tweak with that for a sec. Okay, going back over to the software. So this is librarian mode. It's also the part of the ToneX software that you can see all of the ToneX, ToneNet, excuse me, sounds. ToneNet is the basically the where anybody can upload a sound and make it readily available through ToneNet. So it's players that make their own sounds. It's not specifically from IK Multimedia. It's from individuals. And there's some really amazing both individuals and people that have capture companies at this point. People that like, I think of like, Tone Junkie is one that pops into mind. There might be some stuff. I think there's stuff from Tone Shepherd. Who else? I don't know. Lots of different companies, but also individuals. So, and like the cool thing about this software is that it's also got the ability to do. You've got like most liked. So it'll pull up a whole bunch of stuff that has gotten a whole bunch of likes and downloads. Most downloaded. So of course the Mayor solo is way up there. So yeah, we got some really cool stuff, and those change weekly depending on what people are into. Which is pretty rad. I will be curious if that means if they're changing weekly, is that accurate to what people are using in the long run, or is that just what people are downloading right now? And once you've downloaded it, if you're happy with it, then would that number be accurate? You know, I don't know. Does that make sense? I'm confusing myself. But yeah, so that's a thing. Let's look over back into if you go home. So this is looking at the Tech 21, okay, and this is just sort of a default picture because they don't have a picture of a Sansamp. Then, oh, you can lock it. That's cool. Can turn it on and off, of course. If I go into advanced parameters, now we get some interesting stuff going. So more frequency controls, which could be really cool for this, especially with me complaining about it not having enough highs. I say complaining, but you know what I mean. Let's try. If I turn the treble up here and then turn it up and get the a very high treble frequency. Is that happening in real time? Should be. Not hearing a difference currently. Why am I not hearing a difference? Weird. I'm just learning this software, guys, so I apologize if I look like a total noob in this. It's because I am one. But it's not going to stop me from being excited about this stuff. Okay, so if it advance. No, I don't want modeler. No, I don't want any of that. Okay, back to librarian. If I'm there. Okay, that's gonna adjust firmware. Yeah, not gonna lie, I feel like I should be hearing a difference. That's not doing anything currently. If I mess with the volume, I can tell if it's working. Yeah, agreed. So if volume is all the way down, volume is all the way up, it's not doing it live. So advanced parameters aren't changing as I'm adjusting this. And I don't understand why that would be. What about, so it says compression. What I was really wanting to look at is the verb. I'll turn that off for now. Verb on here. So room verb, plate verb. So if it's room, if we do a smaller time, it's on and off. If I flip back over here, should be able to hear the difference. Can't hear the difference. What are the input and output knobs at the bottom of the screen? Here and here? Yeah. That's a great question. I wonder if it's not doing that in real time and making those sort of deep editing changes in real time because I'm not using the ToneX as an interface, because I'm just using the audio out of it. That might be the reason. Could be, because like even it's got a tuner and it's showing like it's not even there. But in order for me to flip that around, I'm not guaranteed that you'll still be able to hear both the bass and the ToneX. So yeah, we're gonna have to skip over that for now. Just know that those those deep editing advanced parameters are in here, and they are accessible, just maybe not while you're live streaming. So my apologies. I wish I could show you that, better. But what I do know I can demonstrate is some of the different sounds. So let's get into that. We'll do that for a little bit and flip over back to the librarian. And then we're going to leave this, we'll leave the Sansamp on here, just kind of as something to toggle back and forth to. And then let's drag something cool in here. So we'll go over to ToneNet. That's most liked. Let's do all filters, bass specifically. And then all of these are going to be user uploads, which is pretty rad. Okay, so here's one that should be a pretty stark contrast. Dark Glass B1K. Yeah, we're cool overriding. Our second one, that's just fine. Flip back to this one. Bass in a cave. I'm going to pull that back a touch. B1K is a lot more mild than I remembered. Definitely has like a woolly character, so that's cool. I dig. What about, let's try, how about this one? So SVT plus B7K. Loading. Yes, we're okay. Overriding. It's got some bite to it. So that's a cool sound. And I think one of the things that's really cool about the ToneX One specifically, it has both a bypass mode, which you basically just get one sound and you get on off, or it's got A/B mode, which is actually what comes in default, where you can toggle back and forth between two sounds. That for bass is fantastic because you could have your regular sound and then also have your dirty bass sound and be able to switch back and forth. And you can compress each of them differently if you need to. You could be as drastic with those or as similar as you want with those. So like maybe you dig an SVT, so do SVT and then SVT plus this B7K. And that, in doing so, it's almost like you're running your rig and then a pedal into your rig, to get those, like a disto sound, which is pretty fun. Let's try this orange 8200. I wanted one of these for years. Never had one. That'd be cool. Yeah, would be fantastic for bass solos. Yeah, like if you need to stand out, yeah, you can have your second tone and have the ability to like go someplace with it, all while doing that within this one pedal. I haven't mentioned this yet. These are $179. $179. So they are less than any of the Sansamps. And the Sansamp only gets you the Sansamp sound. It doesn't get you have, this one has the more programmable options, but it's just Sansamp. This is every sound that can be uploaded is available. So pretty wild. And then there's also like some bigger companies you can purchase captures that maybe are done on a more professional level. But honestly, I've been really stoked with what I've been seeing just from the user presets. So it's kind of I haven't felt the need to make a purchase at this point because I've been very happy with all of the things that are available for free. So tons of options. So this is the 8200. Very warm. Let's go all P bass. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. It says character is drive. That doesn't sound very driven to me, but let's try high gain. I don't know what 40 guns is, but still not that high of a gain. Let's go over, let's crank up the gain on this one, see what it sounds like. Volume down, gain up. Yeah, a little too woofy. Kind of farty sound. Not necessarily my favorite. Would be nice to add just a touch. Even that's too much. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep looking. So there's a clean option. Here's another high gain option. See what this one does. Hey, if you're enjoying this stream, make sure you give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. All right, see what this one sounds like. Ooh, water noises. It's a very wet bass signal. Oh my gosh, dad jokes are coming out. It's that time already. Yeah, not feeling the high gain so much. That could be a input trim thing, but I'm not really, if I really wanted to get into it, I could maybe adjust that, and that might make a difference, but I don't really know if I want to dive that deep at this point. So, yeah. There is, they added a spot on the update where the input trim is now available. I don't remember where they put it. Yep, I don't know where it's at. Next time. All right, so that one is still kind of chill. I want something with some grit on it. Let's find something dirty. Maybe where are any of the dark glass sounds? Go back to those. ToneNet. Cleans. More Sansamp. 2-note stuff. Here's dark glass. Now, this will be interesting because this is not an amp. This is just modeling a dark glass pedal. So we'll see what that sounds like. But I have the Sansamp here, so what does it sound like with both of those? Probably a lot more gain. Definitely more hiss. Woo! That's got some aggression to it. Take your eyebrows right off. I don't know what this Street Driver 48 is, but we're going to try it. It says Sansamp again. Yeah, kind of sounds like a Sans. Icon's a little misleading. Okay. All right, what about fuzzy? Surely fuzzy is going to have some crazy distortion on it. How fuzzy are we talking here? Oh, yeah. So that's the first fuzzy. OR 120 cranked. I'm not sure I'm familiar with a OR 120. Love it. Writer. Actually, I'm gonna cut a little bit of lows. What if we scoop it? Less mids, more lows. Sounds like running old school Doom through only the subwoofer. Yeah. It's definitely got that character, right? The sort of explosive low end. Also feels a little bit like a blanket over your head. But what about clangy bass? I like clangy bass. I'm gonna put my pick. Keep grabbing guitar picks. I know I've got a bass pick someplace around here. You guys play with bass picks ever? Yes? If so, what millimeter? Curious. Okay, overwrite. Yeah, that is clangy. I like it. Clanky. This is good. This is good. What about retro? If we lose a bridge pickup, try retro, see what that feels like. Oh boy. We're just going to scroll right past what the amp is based on. Ignoring that. So now I'm so curious, but we're gonna skip that. What on earth? Goodness gracious. Microtubes. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty fun sound. You guys having a good time? I'm having a good time. Whether you guys are or not, sorry. I hope you are. Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Super clean RE20. Interesting. Feels really nice. There's all kinds of stuff from this guy. SVXVR. I am not familiar with that Ampeg model, but we're gonna try it. Not wildly different. Oh, here's one I'm curious about. Okay, so here's the VT SVT. So that the VT bass DI, which is actually a pedal I've wanted for a while and I do not have. Wow, where'd the low end go? I don't know where the low end went. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, let's crank up the bass. So that's bass all the way up. Here's bass all the way out. Sound less like a bass guitar to me. All the way up. Could be a bit of a input thing. That is a common thing is if you don't love the way it sounds, there's a good chance that you can adjust the input trim so that you're giving whatever the capture is, you're giving the capture more juice on the front end. That solves a lot of problems within this guy. So I'm not going to get into that today. It's a deep editing thing. It's not wildly deep, but it's deeper than I want to go for this. So yeah. But if I give it a little more volume and let's give it a little more gain too. That's starting to get somewhere. Can actually pull the bass back a touch. Ooh, where'd I go? Well, I lost everything. Oh, I think I broke it. Legit. Wild. Ruined everything. My bad. Maybe I just need to swap it out. How about a Helix Aguilar plus Sans? Let's see if this fixes everything. Okay, we're back. I wasn't scared. You were scared. I wasn't scared. That's a good sound. I like that. What about... Okay, so here's here's a Helix sound that is Aguilar, Sansamp, and M-tube. I'm guessing that's microtube. So probably gonna have some dirt on it. Rub some dirt on it, brother. Yeah. Okay, somebody tell me, is the Helix... Is there a Aguilar product that's called the Helix, or is that a Helix that is made to sound like an Aguilar that is now being captured and used in this, which seems like several layers of capture inception going on. It's like Russian nesting doll of tone captures. Is that what I'm seeing? Maybe I'm misreading that, but that if that's the case, it's wild, man. It's wild. Okay. Ooh, exotic. Again, this is so some of the little icons you can tell are in a pedal capture instead of an amp capture, so that's going to be a little more obvious, but this is definitely one of those. But the BB's, it's sort of a bass preamp. It's definitely got some grit to it. Okay, so what if we run the Sansamp with that? Yeah. I like that sound. I would use that sound for sure. 100%. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so turn the sands back off. 62 bassmen. Man, you just don't see enough people actually using a bassman on bass. People figured out it's basically a Marshall. It's a good sound. Yeah, it's chill, but I could see a place for that. Man, something that would be really interesting is to do some testing between, like, there are certain captures that, like these referenced here, have 210s, so it's a BA with 210s, and then there's not immediately there's not a BA with 15s, but it would be cool to have some comparison of some captures that are 10s and 15s versus some of these say that they're 810 captures and some of them say that they're 210 captures. Does any of that translate here? I don't know. It'd be something worth checking out in the future. So might be a future video on that. Bass. Scrambler? Question mark? That's pretty cool. It's got some aggression to it. About this one right next to it. Scrambler, I guessed right. Okay. BA 210 V2 bass combo. Definitely played some churches that had that exact amp. Actually, no, that's not true. Maybe one that had that amp. A lot more of them had the 115 version. That's a great sound. Honestly, it's a great sound. Like if I'm gonna toss that over here real quick. Overwrite the preset. So you can't see it because it's underneath, but if I click on this guy, now I have the ability to bypass. So this is with the pedal off. Just to give us a little bit of a palate cleanser, remember what we're working with. Then back on. I think that's a great sound. Totally usable sound. I would not mind showing up to a gig with that. So the question, I think one of the questions that I have moving forward is like, so if you're running this, do you commit a DI to the pedal board that you're using? So that's kind of one downside. Let me flip over because I'm going to talk for a sec. If you're going to do that, so what are you going to use on the board in addition to this pedal? What do you have to have? For me, it does have a tuner, but you're stuck with the 3 lights. So you get like red light, green light is you're in tune, that sort of thing. I'm not going to use that. I know you can get to it. I want to say maybe it's like a 3 press or like a hold press or something. See if I can get to it real fast. Is this it? It is it, yeah. So you just hold it, which is not terrible. Yeah, I can, use that to tune. Which maybe I would in a pinch, but for me, I don't know, man. I just really like having a dedicated tuner. I might not need it, but... And then it's back on. Hold. You just have to hold it for like less than 3 seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds. So that's not bad. So maybe that pokes a hole in everything I was about to say. But I personally have just been very used to immediate turning on a tuner, bypassing your signal, and not having to worry about noise, anything. I'm more comfortable with that. So any board that I use a ToneX One for bass is probably going to have a tuner on it. Second, compressor. I like having the ability to turn that on and off. That being said, am I ever going to run bass without compression? Probably not. I much prefer the sound that a compressed bass offers over a non-compressed bass. I just the sustain is just so much better. The transients are like more reeled in. I just much prefer the sound of it. Quick question. Can it be controlled by a MIDI foot switch? Not that I am aware of. I don't think there's a way to do anything MIDI with this that I know of. I could be wrong on that. But I've not seen anybody either talk about it or seen anything in the manual about MIDI. So I don't believe so. I think you're pretty much, if you're getting into the MIDI stuff, I think at that point, the regular full-size ToneX is probably going to be your thing, which I believe has MIDI on. No, 100% has MIDI on it. Yeah. The full-size ToneX that has 3 buttons costs you like $400, maybe a little less than that. That does have MIDI functionality. So if you're getting to a point where it's like, I think I need a little more functionality, just spring for the extra $200. But great question, Metadoom. Is it Metadoom? Did I say that right? Joshua B. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. How's that guitar? How is it? I, I need a video. I need to hear it. Anyway, later. So what else am I going to include with this? So I am going to use a tuner. I am just used to using a standalone compressor, but if there comes a point where I don't feel like I need this anymore, or like heck, you want to like have a actual fly rig, like could go anywhere and need almost nothing, like just throw this tiny pedal in your pocket and set it on the conveyor belt when you're going through TSA. Like you don't even need to put it in your bag. It's ridiculous. This thing is so small, and it does everything that you would need to turn your bass from like a kind of boring direct sound, especially with I haven't mentioned this yet, but I think the ToneX is most useful for passive basses, and I've said this before about the Sansamp in general. I don't love the sound of a direct bass. I don't feel like it's the way the instrument is meant to be heard. Just plugging pickups into a passive DI box and saying that's my bass sound, you almost never do that with an electric guitar. Like, think about it. You almost never take one of these guys, plug it into a DI box, and say, yeah, that's how I expect my instrument to sound. You just don't do that. So if it's not applicable with this, I don't think it's applicable with this. They're not that far different. I don't like the way it sounds. So if that's the case, this is going to make more sense for one of these. However, if you have a bass like this that has a active electronic system in it, you can shape the way it sounds a lot more. You get a lot more crisper top end, fuller lows. Put the mids where you want them. I feel like that sounds a lot closer to what I want to hear straight into a passive DI. Far, far, far more than one of these. So, soapbox, done with that. But I feel like this is more useful for passive basses than active basses. That being said, there's something to be said about, okay, so if you have even an active bass, do you want the sound of the active bass by itself, or do you want the sound of the active bass into an amp and get all of the character that comes from both maybe a little bit of drive, that's a thing, or just like the emulation of the way speakers with an amp pump out audio. It just sounds different, So I would still probably use this even with my active bass. More than likely would probably use it because I feel like I need something that makes me feel like I'm playing an amp. Call me old school, whatever. But other things that you would need with this, a DI and power. I don't know what the current draw on this is. It might be high. I'm sure you could. I always just look it up on Sweetwater's website. So I'm sure it's probably not terrible, but even if it's got high current output, you could just grab a one spot and that would power it fine. So if you need an extra bit of juice, so travel with this in a one spot. It comes with the USB-C cable. That's what's powering it currently, so nothing in the top. Kind of an added benefit is it will power it that way if you're connected there. Obviously, I'm not going to be, if I'm on the road with this or using this on stage, I'm not going to be having it connected to my computer, so you then need to power it more conventional way. But it's cool that they added that, because literally I was at home a couple weeks ago, right when I first got this, plugged it in. I had my 1/4 inch cable went straight into the ToneX, and then the ToneX, I didn't even use the output. The ToneX, then USB-C out to my computer. And the only thing that I didn't like about that setup is I couldn't use my AirPods to monitor. Like, I couldn't figure out a way to get it to monitor back. But you can use just the output on here as a headphone out. So if I had my studio headphones with me, or even a set of in-ears with an extender, I could use the output on this is actually a stereo output, which is like maybe not super useful other than that application because it's a mono input. So unless you really want to hear the reverb from this in stereo, which I'm not really going to use it for that, it's cool that it has the ability to do that for when you're using it as headphones. That's pretty rad. Pretty rad. So the guitar sounds amazing. Definitely send me you better send me a video. Send me a video. My buddy Josh, he's in the chat. Just got a new guitar. And it's a pretty one. It's a pretty one. You guys have any questions about this sucker? I can take a few questions. If there's something else you want me to demo on here, I'm more than happy to do that. Or if you guys just want me to hear a few, shuffle through a few more sounds, I'm happy to do that too. There's a bunch of acoustics down here, 360s. That could be cool. I've kind of got through like most of like what I wanted to talk about with it, but I'm all ears. Let you guys steer the ship. I am parched, however. Whew. Yeah. Let's just jump back into this 360. So some mark-based stuff that could be interesting. Okay. This. Okay. Jumping over. Flip back to this. So I'm dragging in a acoustic 360 with 215s. See what that sounds like. I am on the wrong setting. My bad. There we go. It's boomy. Let's try the same. This is going to be exact opposite. Now for something completely different. Hartkey 410. Is it Hartkey has the aluminum cones in their speaker cabs? Is that right? That's kind of cool. Not wildly different. I was expecting that to be like chalk and cheese, as they say. Marshall 412. Eee. That's a wild sound. I don't know if I'd use that. Marshall 415. Goodness gracious. If you require 4 15s in a single cab. Alright. Mesa 215. I had a Mesa cab. I loved that thing. I've actually had a couple Mesa cabs. Those are by far my favorite cabs I've had. Also good. See what this sounds like with no cab. Cab's definitely making it darker. Interesting. these combos are kind of interesting. A little on the weird side. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. All right. What about good old refrigerator? SVT 810. That's kind of cool. Luke, you cannot mix A and B. Like if you've got an A sound and a B sound, there's not a way to mix those together. It's an either or situation. The only time I did see that there is a mix knob in the deep editor, but I'm assuming, obviously I was having issues actually hearing that in real time, showing us. Again, I think that's because I'm using the output. I believe that's going to be a dry blend. Not 100% sure about that, but my gut tells me that that's going to be your dry signal, and then it's currently set at 100% wet. So I'm assuming that's 100% bass signal. If you wanted to hear your direct signal a little bit blended in there, you can do that. But there's not currently that I know of a way to mix between the A and B and have those together. But great question. Matadoom says, how dirty can it be? Well, that depends a lot on the type of capture that you're looking at. So this is a capture that's a little more mild, but I can still adjust the gain on it, which I've done with some other sounds. We'll try that with this one. I'm just going to crank the gain all the way up, pull the volume back a touch to try to compensate so I don't blow you guys out of the water. So like this capture in particular, this is as dirty as it gets. That's with the gain all the way maxed out. So not that dirty. However, we can get into like a really try to find like an aggressive sound. Like most of the dark glass stuff is going to be pretty aggressive. Those are dark glass pedals. Do we have something that's like 400 plus? Friends, I had a 400 plus, and it was the best bass amp I've ever played, ever owned, and it broke my heart the day that I sold it. Broke my heart. Ugh, man, I miss that amp so much. One of these days, I need to get another one. Granted, like using a bass amp these days, I've mentioned this in videos, kind of pointless. Technology like this has kind of made it a little bit pointless, which I hate, but it's a thing. I'm gonna find a dirty sound, something with some grit. Will it take fuzz well? That's a great question. Well, oops. What do I have close? I mean, we're on the stream. Might as well try it. I'm gonna play a dirty sound first, and then I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna grab a fuzz pedal and run that into it, see how it does. So we're gonna do that. Might be a touch of dead air in a second, but let's see. Gravel pit, Gallon Kruger. Let's just try this real quick because it says fuzzy. Yeah, see, not that fuzzy. Which could be an input thing. So I'm going to try not to judge it. Here's a Trace Elliott with a Big Muff Pie. Okay. Try that. Add a little bit of treble. And then let's try that sound, but with the gain all the way up. Which is pretty fuzzy. Pretty fuzzy, not gonna lie. Let's try. I'm gonna grab a fuzz pedal. Let me quickly. I mean, probably something like either the Sands, or maybe we just grab like a something that's a little more mainstream, like a SVT or something. The SVT, this one didn't have too much dirt on it. There's got to be something. Okay, SVT2 ultra high, and it says clean. Let's see what this sounds like real quick. And then I'll grab a pedal to run into it. Yeah, sounds like a... Just sounds like a standard SVT. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to grab a fuzz pedal. Pause for station identification. Also, before I do that, 4-string or 5-string? What do you guys think? Tell me. I need to know. 4-string or 5-string? I need to know. Be right back. Gonna try that one. One more. All right. Because it's fuzz, you kind of always need a backup. Always need a backup for fuzz. For whatever reason, fuzz pedals are typically the most susceptible to running into issues. Stuff just randomly not working on you. So we'll see how either of these go. Mute this so I can unplug it. Okay, no sound. It's good. We haven't used the compressor for this, so I'm just going to pull it off. Just destroy my board. Don't mind me. Put that over there. Which one do you guys want to try first? Just black or blue in the chat. I need a response. Otherwise, I'm not going to use either of them. Black or blue. This one, the Park Fuzz Sound by Earthquaker is cool. This one's Supro Fuzz. I couldn't even compare the two. They sound totally different. So, which one? Should I do one of them, or should I do one of them first? You tell me. Put this right where I can't see anything. Five because it's more bassy. Wait, 5 because it's more bassy than a 4. Yeah, can I tell you can't play bass? Yeah, Josh, you're outing yourself. It's obvious that you're not a bass player, but with that statement, just play, just play. Okay, so we're gonna do the blue one. Not based on a fuzz face. It's based. Good question, Metadoom. It's based on. I think the pedal is actually called a park fuzz. It's one of those enormous, like in the early era of like any of the, oh my gosh, Bender, like Tone Bender era, where all of the cases were enormous and like kind of the size of your foot. They had a pedal that looked like this. It was just called the Park Fuzz. I'm not sure who originally made it, or what it was actually based on. A lot of things, to be fair, were like either fuzz face or a tone bender back then. So it very well could be not miles off from that, but we'll see how this is going. Gotta turn it on first. It's not showing power. That's not a good sign. Plugged in. We've got the power. See, this is what I'm talking about. I knew something was going to give me grief. And that just literally, it's not powering on. Okay. We're switching back. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Metadoom, you've lost all faith in me. Apologize. Switching over to Supro after I made a big deal about you guys choosing. Yeah, maybe polarity. It says center negative, which is the same as the rest of these, I'm pretty sure. Oh, this is not getting power either. What is wrong with my power? Oh. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, user error. What a noob. What a noob. Oh, yeah. Don't remember turning the power off, but that's that. Okay. We're back in action. 3 hours later. Okay. Drum roll, please. Woofy. It's got a treble bass knob, so I think that kind of works the same way that a DS1 works, where one side is just going to be a little more boomy, one side is going to be brighter, and sort of on a tilt EQ. I think that's what the circuit's called. So I can make it really hissy. Sorry, you guys can't really see what I'm doing here. What if we crank the fuzz up a bit? That's like trying to get some of that really, really high highs out of there. That sounds pretty cool. Rip the blue pedal. It's okay. It's okay. It's back. It's back. It wasn't the pedal's fault. It was Dave's fault. So, unsurprisingly. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. I had the Sansamp on. Okay. Let's try that test one more time. No, only the SVT sound and not this, which is maybe a little too bright. Some fuzz. And this park fuzz is inherently kind of like mid-pushed. So let's try this one. This one's got a bass and treble control on it. Just have to mute. Okay. So if you guys have watched my other streams, this is the first time that I've done a stream with the camera over here. What do you guys think about that? I wanted to do a two camera setup to where you get like a pedalboard cam, but that 100% crashed my computer last time I tried to do that. So I'm already trying to do a lot of things with this, but let's see what this sounds like. A little bit more clarity on the ToneX. Yeah, you get. That's some dirt. That is some dirt for you. I like that. So yeah, I mean, I would say that handles that. I mean, just because we can, let's go ahead and flip over. I'm going to bypass the ToneX. Here's the Sansamp. Same thing. Of course, the Sansamp has a lot more highs. Let me just dial some of that back so that this is a little bit closer comparison, and ToneX has a fighting chance. I should really learn more Muse riffs. Like, Muse has 100% the best bass fuzz riffs of all time. And you can fight me on it. Fight me on it. Who has better bass fuzz riffs than Muse. Just saying. I'm probably playing that wrong. I apologize, but it works well. So yeah, will it take fuzz? Yes, I would say the ToneX does take fuzz well. It's going to depend on your capture, right? It's going to depend on your capture. Oh, goodness. What do you mean? Oh, I don't understand the reference, Matadoom. My bad. I don't know if I've ever seen that word before. That word before. My bad. I really enjoy it. I love Muse. So it takes fuzz well, but you can just dial up a sound that already has fuzz on it. So, like, if you're using this in conjunction with other pedals, that is one thing. If you're just wanting to use this as an all-in-one solution, it can do that too. Again, guys, the power of this thing is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I couldn't even speculate, Josh. I couldn't even speculate. No idea. No idea. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Is this still something that you guys are interested in? If you guys want to see more videos on this, please let me know in the comments, something that you're curious about. I have already made a couple of guitar-related videos for this. I probably, at some point, will actually build a board. When I purchase another one of these, I'll probably build a board and use this as my my amp sound. But who knows? After today, it might end up being taking up more spots than just that on the pedal board. So I need to get like one of those itty bitty, like micro nano is what I need. Yeah, it's pretty rad what it can do, and I think it solves a lot of potential problems. A lot of pressure points for bassists and guitarists alike, in that it's affordable, it's compact, it sounds great, and it's really, really versatile. And also, it doesn't do everything. And I feel like I've touched on this in one of the other live streams, but something that I actually really love that IK did with this is that they didn't give it delay and modulation and everything that every other multi-effect unit has. They made it an amp modeler and a stomp box modeler that you're pretty much tied to amps and dirt pedals is like what it does. I don't think that there's any way to like model like a phaser on this thing. If there is, I'm not aware of it. Haven't seen anybody talking about that or heard anybody talking about that. So it doesn't do everything, but the things that it does do, there's a lot of options there and a lot of horsepower in such a compact device that comes in at a price point that like virtually, and I know $179 is not cheap to some people. So with respect, if you're like just getting in or like just not in the financial position to spend that kind of money, I totally get that and empathize with that. But This is so much closer and in so many more people's wheelhouse and like spending range than like a Kemper or a Fractal. Um, Even the original ToneX, which was $400, this is less than half the price. So yeah, they've just done a really good job of making this like kind of removing every excuse that I would have had to not buy this. you know, it just does a lot. It does a lot. So I kind of wish I had 6 of them. I'd figure out a use for each of them. I promise. It'd probably end up being a wet, dry, wet rig. Okay, very quickly, let's go on this tangent because I threw it out there. If I had 6 of them, I would do a wet, dry, wet rig. So I would have 2 different amps for the stereo, and then I would have yet a third amp for a dry, no delay or reverb. And then with the other 3, I would use 2 of them to model drive pedals, and those would be 2 of my overdrive sounds that I could rotate, and then 1 of them would just be dedicated to bass. So yeah, there, I just use 6 of them. I would have 5 of on one board, which should okay, 5 on one board is maybe a little bit ridiculous. Oh, let's say I would use 2 of them for bass. 1 that could be dedicated to the amp and all of that, and 1 could just be like different stomp pedals that you run into that. So you can, mix and match that way. And then on my electric board, I would have 4 of them. I would do a wet, dry, wet, and then I would do just 1 as like I can pull up I don't have a clon, but grab a sound, a capture of a clon, which, P.S., I've got beef with the capture of the clon, but I'm going to save that for another video. Not going to talk about that today. But yeah, that's how I would use 6 of them. And if I bought 6 of them, that's less than $1,200, probably around $1,200 with shipping. Wait, do I get free shipping in this scenario? I probably get free shipping in this scenario, but there's tax. So let's say around $1,200. How much is Kemper? $1,600. So I could buy 6 of these and still not hit Kemper prices. And again, credit where credit's due. Like, you got to walk before you can run, and like the ToneX exists now because there's been some amazing technology that has existed before it and predates it. So, like, I in no way mean to throw shade at Kemper. We still have Kempers that we use here at the church. I in no way want to throw shade at Fractal. They sound great. I've never owned one, but I've played with players that own them and love them. Credit where credit is due. This pedal exists now because all of that technology has been put out, and companies have learned what guitar players need. And this is something that I think a lot of players, it solves a need for a lot of players. Do you have to have it? No. Are there other options? Yeah, there are. Maybe not other options quite as cheap with as many options, or as versatile, I should say. So there's that. But yeah, it's wild. It's wild what this thing can do. And if not for any other reason, like, here's one annoyance, literally a pain point that I felt today. I had to take this off of my electric pedal board to use it on this today. So the device is so useful that because I don't have 2 of them, I was for a moment annoyed. And then I went, oh wait, this thing's great. Why am I annoyed? It'll go back on the electric board just fine. So yeah. That's the video, folks. Quick check of the stream. Let's see here. No, Josh, I haven't done anything with it on acoustic. And I don't feel like at this point they haven't put anything in the ToneNet software, or even the ToneX, the actual IK Media side of things. I haven't seen anything that looked like it was geared towards acoustics or like would be a benefit to acoustics. But like, think about it. If it's doing a capture, it can do a capture of an amp. Can it capture the sound that a microphone and pre's can do? I don't know. I don't know. If there's a way, because like that sort of gets a little more away from like amp modeling into like the IR world. So if it's doing something, a similar job to like an impulse response, then there are IRs for that acoustics can benefit from. So if that's the case, I don't know. Like maybe there's room for that in the future. Right now they haven't either marketed it towards that or have like really put any sort of readily available features that like scream like use me on acoustic. But maybe in the future, maybe. Amplitude Amplitude 5. Yeah, I've not messed with Amplitude that much. I did a quick demo of it one time. Just popped in, tried some sounds, and liked what I heard. But that's about as far as I got. I'd be curious, Matadoom, do you use that for your do you use that for recording, or do you use it live at all? What's the application there? Just curious. Yeah, and it pocket size, 100% pocket size. Like you could fit, depending on what jeans you're wearing on the day, you could fit multiple of these in the same pocket. It's wild. Yes, no problem grabbing the fuzz. I felt like it was worth the wait. I hope you guys did. I felt like it was worth the wait. It sounded pretty great once we got it dialed in. Just to experiment with tone. Great. That's awesome. Yeah, you're also on the demo. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I will at the same time. Here's me speaking on both sides of my mouth. I like devices that do one job and do that one job really well. That's kind of why I gravitated towards like the Dream 65, any of the Universal Audio amp style pedals. I like that it's like just one amp. And I actually really liked the Iridium before those came out. I really liked the idea of it because it was just 3 amp sounds. Like before that, you're talking, okay, way back in the day, the pod, it's got 32 amp sounds on it. And 3 of them sound halfway decent. And then, that grew and they did different versions of it. Stuff started sounding better. Then, you get into like, what was it before Fractal? The company that partnered with Fractal. Oh, what was the name of that company? I can't remember. But it was like 11 rack? Is that the same thing? No, maybe that's something different. 11 rack was also like a whole bunch of different sounds. Then after that, you get into Fractal and Kemper. Those are more like you can take your sound and capture your sound, or profile your sound, or however the company phrases it. But you can get your sound on this and then take your amp sound, use it direct, take that anywhere. And the technology got better and better and better. Stuff started sounding better and better and better. So, but the trade-off in that is when you have 1,000 things that it can do. And I firmly, I'm still going to die on this hill, but I feel like the Kemper has too much going on. It's got 1 million amps that you can use, and it also has wet effects it also has, it's like trying to be an all-in-one solution. And I really don't like it as an all-in-one solution because I like using pedals and then I want a direct amp sound, right? That's kind of where I sit on it. But the thing that this does is it's not trying to do any of the wet effect stuff. And because of that, yes, you can get lost in the sauce with, having, 20,000 different amp options. And that's not exaggeration. ToneNet is wild. There's a lot of options. But I'm not also thinking, well, I need to find a really great delay sound on this, or I need to find a really great reverb on this. It's got 5 to choose from if you're going to use it for that. So along with that, I love that it's somewhat focused in its options. All of that being said, and this is me talking out of the other side of my mouth, I love being able to experiment. I love being able to find new sounds. Amplitude is a great spot, like to be able to try new things, like try amp sounds that you wouldn't normally use. Go as deep as you want to go with that. Am I into Marshalls, or am I into high watts? Am I into old Fenders or new Fenders or tweed Fenders or, black panel Fenders, whatever the thing is. It's part of the joy of the journey that is guitar and bass, is getting to experiment with those things. And up until, the last, 20 years, how else did you get to try new sounds? Like, you get to go to a guitar store, and try out what they have, but maybe they have the stuff that you've heard before. Kind of hard to find a high watt, and if you can find a high watt, can you crank it up, see what it actually does in a guitar store? Probably not. So at that point, it's like you got to buy it to try it. That's kind of difficult for most of us. So unless you just have tons and tons of money to throw away, or throw around at least, hard to try as many things as there are out there. Even just like the first time I heard a Dr. Z amp was like, I heard a buddy play one, and then I looked at every guitar store that was in town, didn't have one. Wanted to see if I could get that sound, and they just were not readily available. So something like this, it gives players access to sounds that they've never been so close. Literally, just dial up anything you want. And obviously there's a wild amount of overlap, right? So the Venn diagram for 20,000 sounds is going to look like a big rubber band ball. Does the capture of a early bassman sound that different than the capture of a Marshall Plexi? They might actually be really close. Ooh, there's a sound. They might actually be really close, and if they're really close because they're really close in the real world, or they're really close because those two captures were captured in a similar way, and the amps, maybe they ran through similar cabs. I don't know. There's overlap for sure. And that may be one of the annoyances with this, is it's not going to be like, here's a completely different sound every time you switch. And I ran into some of that today. Like, some of the sounds were actually pretty similar. But if you can sort through that and are okay with letting this be a journey that's going to take some time, finding the sounds that you like, this can absolutely do that. And you'll find 1,000 other sounds that you love along the way. So anyway, that is the most long-winded exit I've ever had. Yeah. So thanks you guys for sticking around. I appreciate you guys hanging out for the stream. Thanks for hitting me up and asking questions. Hope I answered most of them. And yeah, if there's more that you want to hear or anything that you guys are curious about beyond this, always feel free to DM me on Instagram, shoot me an email, Getting Better with Dave. Only one G in Getting at Gmail. Feel free, hit me up. I'm all ears, and I'm just, if it's not obvious, I'm really excited about this pedal. I was excited about it when it came out initially, and then they were back ordered. Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled about it. But a new video coming out this week. Check it out. Should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not sure. It's either gonna be Wednesday if I get one video out this week, or if I like rock and roll over the next 2 days, I might be able to, wait, today's Sunday. So today, tomorrow. I might be able to get Tuesday the soonest. So Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll get a video out to you all. It's going to be me going through my guitar pedal board with the ToneX and everything that I use before and after it. So I'm stoked about that. It'll be cool. And then beyond that, I've got a couple more videos for the week after that hopefully you guys will dig. So be watching for that. New content every week. If you haven't seen any of my other content about the ToneX, I'm starting to stockpile some information about it. So I've got a playlist for the ToneX. I'll drop a link in the description. And yeah, that's it. All right. Enough of me yapping. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Keep getting better. Yeah. Looking at you, Josh. Keep getting better. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see ya.